Before we begin, please be aware that this video contains very heavy spoilers for Genshin Impact up to version 6.4, also known as Luna 5, the current game version as of recording. So if you clicked on this video and haven't played up through these quests yet, and you are still interested in doing so, please watch this at your own risk. Also, I would like to say that while I play Genshin frequently, I'm certainly not a lore expert. It's also worth pointing out that Genshin lore only gets more confusing and convoluted as time goes on, so that might factor in as well. I might get stuff wrong. You can feel free to correct me about anything in the comments, but I will do my best. Let me just start by saying that Genshin Impact is one of my favorite games. I know that there's a lot to be said about Genshin and that Genshin fans are kind of a meme. There's a lot of valid critiques to be thrown Genshin's way. For example, like many gacha games, they use a very predatory business model, and Hoyoverse makes millions of dollars off of FOMO and by fostering people's gambling addictions. And I would argue Genshin is actually worse than a lot of other Hoyo games too, because it's not as generous. From my understanding, other games from this company have made up for a lot of Genshin's greed by giving away more free characters and by making it easier to obtain materials to level them up. Meanwhile, Genshin refuses to adapt even after over 5 years of updates. The resin cap is still only at 200 with no resin overflow system, and the weapon and talent ascension materials are still only available for a few days each week, which is an outdated system that serves absolutely no purpose. But despite all of those flaws, Genshin kind of stole my heart in the beginning. I had never played a game like this before, meaning a gacha game. I didn't know how the pity system worked. I did a 10 pull whenever I had fates, and I didn't save them at all because I wasn't keeping up with any upcoming banners or anything. And I would spend my Primo Gems equally on both Intertwined and Acquaint Fates because that seemed like the financially responsible thing to do. I shudder to think about it even now. But when I first started back in October of 2020, during Klee's first ever banner,
I started when Arataki Ito was out, and they gave me D-Luke instead. I lost my 50-50. And so what I had to do was I had to get Wolf's Gravetone off the standard banner. And what I would do is I'd fight Andreas the Wolf, and then I would swing on the sword, because to initiate the fight, Wolf's Gravestone is in the floor there. You gotta swing on it to initiate the fight. And I'd initiate the fight. No, I'd swing on the sword, I'd initiate the fight, kill Andreas, and then I'd wish for Wolf's Gravetone off the standard banner, off the standard banner until I got it. Off the standard banner until I got it. That's right. That's right.
None of that mattered, because Genshin was pretty magical early on. Not only was it special because back then, you really didn't have to worry about power creep. You could pretty much build any character you wanted if you liked them. But there was this feeling of newness that came with starting out in 1.0. This open world was laid out before you with two beautifully designed nations. The music was, and still is, so gorgeous and immersive. Playing with headphones and just listening to the soundtrack while running around with your favorite characters was so lovely. There were little puzzles to solve and stories to tell, all backdropped by a beautiful landscape. The story told by the Archon quests.
I think me and many players, I think we all just got burnt out around Sumeru, because I'm going to be honest, I quit the game in Sumeru, and then I came back, like, whenever Natland came out. I caught up on all the Fontaine stuff, got the Rio Fiorina rerun.
Was relatively simple, but the characters were interesting and so lovable that they gave the quests life in their own way. And then there were events like the first Lantern Rite and the first Wind Bloom. Don't get me wrong, I think there have been some really good Lantern Rites in recent years. The one featuring Gaming comes to mind, but I really don't think that the sheer innocent joy that
I like her sweater overalls. I'd go hard in Miliastra. If you know, you know.
That came with these events early on will ever be matched in the future. And plus I think that Genshin has kind of forgotten about Windbloom. But like, the cutscenes were so beautiful, getting to see what all of these characters in Liyue and Mondstadt were up to during these times of year. I mean, that cutscene of all the characters walking around Mondstadt together spawned so much shipping, and I was absolutely there for it, just like everybody else was. Following this, we had Inazuma, Sumeru, and Fontaine, again all beautiful nations with so much potential for exploration. They encouraged you to look in every nook and cranny. There's so much lore to be found that you might never see it all unless you peruse the Genshin wiki. One of my favorite examples of all of the records and notes you can find are about Ildodore and they're scattered throughout Sumeru. Just discovering how immensely evil he was made me so excited to see what they would do with a villain like that in this story. And we will get to that. But even if the story occasionally got dull, and I know a lot of people struggled with Inazuma, believe me, I have problems with it too.
I hate on Dottore a lot. At the end of the day, he's pretty entertaining. Like, I like to hate on him, and the fact that you can kind of be use him as a punching bag is kind of already a compliment towards his character, because at the very least he's good for that. And I mean, like, Genshin needed a villain after Signora was bye-bye. Tartaglia was the GOAT, Signora was the GOAT. Dottoro, he's fine. Dottoro's fine. He's entertaining, right? Am I crazy? Dottoro's entertaining. I liked Rarier, bro. If you know, you know. Rarier playable win. Rarier playable win.
Too. I know I could always count on seeing a character I liked. When Inazuma was boring me to death in the middle, or when it was busy underdeveloping Raiden A, I could at least
Inazuma kind of sucked. Going to Kokomi, and she's like a general. She does not look like a general, I guess, Kokomi. Okay, and then, like, there was the whole delusion thing, right? Of, like, the soldiers, they would use the fake powers, and then they would die. I have no idea what Scaramouche was doing in the basement, I'm gonna be honest. I liked all the Raiden stuff, though. All the Raiden stuff with the A. And, dude, the Kazuha cutscene versus Raiden was sick. This whole warbit was cool. Kazuha carried.
ABC Kazuha sometimes, who is still one of my favorite characters in the game to this day.
The side quests were top tier. The Arataki Ito side quest, and Izuma's really good.
A gacha game relies on its characters like almost no other type of game does. If you want people to pull for them, they have to appeal. And most of them did. They had beautiful designs and interesting personalities that sealed the deal.
Kuki is probably Kuki Shinobu, if you know, you know.
So yes,
Probably my favorite Inazuma character.
Genshin is one of my favorite games. But I'm also its biggest hater. And I know what you're gonna say. You're just nostalgic. That's the only reason you think it was better back.
Me too, but I really liked Natlan. I mean, I hated Natlan. I hated that the story was about Kachina. And I hated that Kachina was the main character. But by the end of Natlan, like, they let me use whatever character I wanted. And I was maining my Bennett. I had, like, a Bennett Sitlali team. And Bennett, Sitlali, Fiorina, Kazuha. And did crazy damage. And I was just Bennett on, like, these hot air balloons. And Natlan was fine, bro. Natlan was cool. The Capitano versus Mavuika boss fight was epic. Alright? Natlan, the motorcycle is sick. When you fly around on Mavuika's motorcycle, it looks like a dragon. It's gnarly. Very cool. Mavuika, okay, she's gonna hate this whole video. She's gonna hate on Mavuika. She's gonna hate on the zipper. Listen, this video, I think it's rage bait. This is just, I don't know why it's going so viral. It's just going viral because this lady makes some pretty outrageous claims. I remember she hates Mavuika's zipper. I watched Bran online and a couple other creators react to this already. So she hates Mavuika's zipper and she hates Varessa. Man, those are like my two favorite characters in the game. I feel personally attacked. They look beautiful, lady. There's nothing wrong with their design. Go to a rave. I'm sorry. Don't take. You're projecting. You're projecting your. It's not peace and blessings. Okay. Just I've seen bits and pieces of this video, and I like this video. I'm having a good time watching this video. I'm gonna keep watching this video. Let's get back to it.
But I have proof. I mean, why else would I make a whole video essay on an unestablished YouTube channel if I didn't have proof? So, was Genshin always this weird and bad? No, it wasn't. And let me tell you why.
Okay, only 50 more minutes.
So, when we talk about bad Genshin, we have to talk about the elephant in the room, Natlan.
Natlan was great. Sumeru sucked and Fontaine was mid. What are you telling me? Sumeru, I get there and I have to do Groundhog's Day with Nahida. What a joke. Okay? And then that takes like, what, 4 hours? And then you take me to Fontaine. And then you literally arrest me and take me to court. And I guess I'm playing Phoenix, right? That was lame. This is an anime game. I want to kill things with a sword. I don't want to play Phoenix, right? In my opinion, Sumeru and Fontaine were pretty weak. But Natlan, it started off pretty weak, but I think it finished pretty strong. Yeah, I mean, dude, yeah, I was imagining it a lot different, bro. I was imagining like a volcanic, a Viking region, like we would get in Pokemon, or How to Train Your Dragon. That's how I was imagining that land back when like Sumeru just came out. But yeah, there was like an NPC in Sumeru you would talk to him and be like, Natlan, the nation of war and dragons. And it's a shame there wasn't more dragons, more like Alduin style dragons. This game could have really used them, man. It's tragic. Like, you know, Alduin from Skyrim, that's probably one of my favorite dragons. He looks very cool. Imagine if Genshin Impact had a couple of those, bro. That would be like, oh man, what a game changer, bro. But how if we already left Natlan, bro? I mean, the dragons in Natlan are all right. Off the top of my head, I remember 2 of them. I remember like 2. The one that dual wields the swords, he's all right. And then the one that's like kind of looks like a pterodactyl with a big horn. We only get 2 dragons in the Nation of Dragons. Are you for real? It's kind of...
In case you're unfamiliar, Genshin bases its nations on real-world cultures, in terms of visual inspiration, the names of the characters, and the nation's customs. Mondstadt is based largely on Germany, Liyue on China, Inazuma on Japan, and so on. Natlan, similarly to Sumeru, is based on multiple real-world cultures, including Mesoamerican societies, Polynesian cultures, and the cultures of African peoples. It's hard to pin down what they were thinking when they picked out all of these places, each so different to represent just one nation in the game. I'm certainly not the person to listen to on if this is bad representation, but I will say I do find it odd that the regions based on parts of the world where historically many black and brown people have lived are a mishmash of many different cultures, and that the characters are whitewashed versions of these people.
That is rough. It's not that bad, man. I mean, come on, listen. We got Kaya, we got Auron. We got Kaya, we got Aoife, right? We got Yansan, we got the Rockstar guitar girl from Liyue. All 10 out of 10 designs. Candace, 10 out of 10 design. I mean, how can you argue? All I'm saying is, like, they do a really good job on the representation in Genshin Impact, in my opinion.
It just gives me pause, to say the least.
Especially with the mannequins, the new custom characters. To be fair, this video is probably like made before the mannequins, really.
For many other reasons too, Natlan was understandably poorly received by fans, at least in the United States. I'm not really sure how other parts of the world reacted to it. It's easy to see why though, because it's the same reasons that I didn't like Natlan. The landscapes are fine, but...
It reminds me of Fire Fist Ace from One Piece, and he's a cowboy. And you cannot tell me the fit's not hard, bro. His pants, shoe combo with the jacket.
Aesthetically, a lot of Natlan doesn't mesh well with existing aesthetics of the game, and one of the major problems people had was the characters' access to modern technology and concepts like motorcycles, flying guns, rollerblades, and DJ sets. I'm not even necessarily mad at the idea of having more modern tech in Natlan, but the problems lie more in the execution. First, Natlan made a point to set up an aesthetic style for Natlanese technology, like that within the ancient Sacred Mountain area, but then they only used it in that area. If Maoika's motorcycle or Shilonen's DJ set looked anything like this, and not like sleek, modern variations of those objects, maybe they wouldn't have felt so out of place. And another problem with the tech is that no one else in Natlan, other than the playable characters, use it at all. You don't see any other Natlanese people rollerblading or driving vehicles. They probably wouldn't feel so out of place if other people in the 6 tribes had access to this stuff. There is perhaps no location in Natlan that is so out of place as the Easy Breeze Holiday Resort. I did love the lore that this location provided for Bennett, but everything else about it is so ass, dude. It genuinely feels like a different game to walk around this resort. There's a huge slide in the shape of a Kaholosaurus, a dark ride a la Disneyland, a field that looks like a fucking Wii Sports golf course, and like a music festival area with a dance-off stage. I cannot stress enough how immersion breaking it is to explore this area. Have there been silly summer-themed areas in the past? Yes, but none of them have ever had an aesthetic on par with this one. I mean, the Golden Apple Archipelago just looks like it was taken straight out of Mondstadt or Liyue in terms of design, while still looking very fantastical, with impossible landscapes that could only be created by a mage of incredible power like Alice. Unfortunately, the visual aspects aren't Natlan's only faults. I and many others also found the lore and quest of this region to be pretty lacking too. We'll start with the basics. Each nation in Teyvat has a divine ideal that is represented by the Archon. So far, we've been introduced to 6 ideals of 7: freedom, contracts, eternity, wisdom, justice, and war. Most of these, at least
How do you even pick a favorite?
to me, represent a good idea of what a divine ideal should be, something that a god is supposed to uphold in their nation. Sometimes upholding the ideal leads to conflict in the region. For example, in her upholding of eternity, Raiden Shogun sealed her borders and stole the ability to use elemental magic from her people, all for the sake of keeping Inazuma the same for all time. At the same time, Raiden herself represents the concept of eternity. She locks herself away to practice hundreds of years of meditation and uses undying puppets of herself to exact her will on the people of her nation. It's honestly very upsetting the way that they rushed through her arc so much, because I think she would have made for such a compelling character otherwise. Now think about Mawika in the same way, with regards to her divine ideal, which is war. How does she represent war? Well, she's fighting a war against the Abyss, like everybody else in Teyvat. Yeah, maybe they have it worse than other nations, but still, what happens when the war ends? Which it does at the end of the Archon quest. It's not like Mawika is some battle-crazed maniac. At most, she's just kind of thoughtless and reckless in her actions. Do you see how war doesn't really work as a divine ideal, and least of all with Mawika as its representative? Also, it's a nation of war made up of 6 different factions, and yet there's absolutely no conflict between them. It really just doesn't make any sense. This is why I personally always thought it would be cool if the Pyro Archon was a villain to her people. Maybe she makes them fight each other, gladiator style.
Brand Online said this, but it would have been... That's literally what Raiden Shogun did. So it would have been bad. But yeah, there was that big gladiator circle. So she is spitting. What if she did make these two like fight in a gladiator? And we got a bunch of gladiator themed. We could have had Planet Hulk and Genshin Impact. We could have had coulda, shoulda, woulda. Genshin Impact kind of sucks, and it's kind of always gonna suck. But at least we have Motorcycle Lady, Pillow Hug Lady, and Surfboard Lady. You know what I'm saying, bro? Like, it's not gonna be Planet Hulk, bro. This is Waifu Simulator. You know? It's not gonna be Planet Hulk with Alduin style dragons everywhere. Maybe. I really don't think this is not that game. This is the waifu game where you collect waifus and you do your daily commissions and you go to your teapot and you play Animal Crossing and then you go collect costumes in Miliastra. You know, I'm sorry to tell you this. I like this game. It's my favorite game. What are these spikes? Man, I wish I had Movuika, bro.
For her own entertainment. And then maybe we would have a better rebellion storyline than Inazuma with an Archon that's completely irredeemable, because we certainly know that the Cryo Archon is gonna get redeemed in some way if she's ever going to become playable. We will also touch on that in a later section in more detail. Instead, in Mawika, we have an Archon who is a Mary Sue. Ironic when she's the only Archon who is actually a human and would likely have the most flaws out of any of them. The thing is, Mawika is very flawed. She is extremely irresponsible and brash, even when
she's a Mary Sue, but she's very flawed. Aight. Okay then.
it will put the lives of her entire nation at stake. Her nation is at war with the Abyss, and she's like, well, best thing I can do for you guys now is go to sleep for 500 years and hope and pray that the heroes I need will appear to me when I need them. What? That is crazy of you! And yet the game tries to make me feel bad for her for doing this. The game, instead of pointing out how terrible and risky this plan is, just focuses on the fact that Mawika had to say goodbye to her family in order to put this plan into action. Dog, I do not care. The writing doesn't focus at all on what's important here. It just makes her out to be the perfect Archon who's good at everything and refuses to fail.
She had to leave her family behind, bro. It sucked. She had to leave her family behind to, like, save the people in the future. This lady, she's rage baiting, or she just misunderstood Mawika's story.
There were no memorable parts of that quest for me, except for maybe the final battle. And it's not even like the characters here can make up for this nation's incredibly boring and stupid story. For me, all of them were so nothing. It boggles my mind that so many of y'all are shipping these MFs together when they barely have interesting relationships with each other at all. I feel like all of their personalities could be explained in one word. Mualani is bubbly. Kinich is standoffish. Kachina is insecure. Veresa, she eats a lot. Oh, and Mawika. What can be said that I haven't already touched on? She's good at everything. She's the perfect Archon, and even her reckless plan for saving her nation isn't questioned by anyone that matters or treated by the game as risky at all, even though it is. And in the end, she just defeats the Abyss with the power of friendship. It reminds me of that TikTok where they had the cutscene with all the heroes side by side with the clip from My Little Pony Equestria Girls. The writers go out of their way to make Mawika seem like the coolest person ever, when in reality she has like no personality. Like, can we talk about how her trailer was just this cringe-ass music video where all of the nation heroes are playing instruments in a band? Oh my god. It's like literally unbearable to watch. And it's not like any of the other characters do anything to move the plot forward. This region doesn't even know how to treat its lore-relevant characters as such. Auroran and Yansan are the Natlan heroes from the Masters of the Nightwind and the Collective of Plenty, respectively, but I guess they're not important enough to be the focuses of the Tribal Chronicles. Instead, those honors are given to Citlali and Veresa, the latter of which we hadn't even met during the Natlan Archon quest. She was literally invented just to take Yansan's place. I wonder why that is. In any case, most of the important actions are driven by Mawika and the Traveler, so none of these characters feel important at all. They're just accessories to, again, the power of friendship storyline. But like I said, that obviously doesn't work unless these characters feel like they have meaningful relationships with each other, which they don't. Needless to say, I did not pull for any of the Natlan characters, even though their combat mechanics are in the meta right behind lunar reactions. The only one I really wanted, and only just recently
account's bricked and she's mad,
was the 4-star character Aoife, and that's mostly because he's a gorgeous cowboy. On the
like
topic of Natlan characters being in the meta, Natlan is also when the shill started getting really bad. Soon enough, the Abyss and other endgame modes were tailor-made for Night Soul mechanics, with some bosses that are nearly impossible to beat without Natlan characters in the team. It just started a trend that only
skill issue. Get good.
Gets worse with time. One that leads us directly into it's hard to forget how hyped people were when the first trailer for the new area of Tevat, Nodkrai, was released. Nodkrai is a sub-nation of Snezhnaya, the last of the 7 nations we are supposed to visit in our search for our lost twin, so naturally the lore is getting pretty intense here.
I thought Dottore kind of sucked at first. I really liked man, who do we have in Fontaine, bro? Arlecchino. I liked Arlecchino a lot, bro. Arlecchino was kind of like Lady Tartaglia almost. Arlecchino was alright. I mean, listen, I didn't really love Arlecchino, but when she pulled up and kidnapped Fiorina, basically, that's what it looked like, right? That was hard. That was dope. And she was like interrogating her mean. That was pretty cool. Okay. And after Arlecchino, Capitano, Capitano versus Mawika fight was sick. Everything between Capitano and Auron was sick, bro. Capitano in the actual game reminded me of Bowser, bro. And Auron was like his Bowser Jr. I'm telling you, that's what it looked like in the gameplay. You know what? We're just not going to talk about it.
But the reaction to seeing so many lore-relevant characters in one trailer was immense. We got first glimpses of 2 members of the Hexen Circle, Alice and Nicole, the Grand Master of the Knights of Favonius, Varka, who we'd only heard about in passing until this point, and 2 Fatui Harbingers that hadn't appeared on screen before, Sandrone and Columbina. Every look we got was very fleeting, and it was hard to glean any info from this trailer alone, but people were still so excited. Imagine what Nodkrai has in store if there's so many important characters here, ones that we've only heard whispers about prior. Well, Nodcry is better than Natlan by a long shot,
Oh, yeah.
but would you hate me if I said that this also disappointed me? Don't get me wrong, Nodcry in a lot of ways was kind of a positive return to form for Genshin. First of all, these characters actually feel like they know each other past teehee, we're all best buddies. Aino and Anefa are so sweet, Varka and Flynn's are hilarious together, and Nefer and Lauma have some of the craziest Yuri subtext since Beidou and Ningguang. These characters feel
Nodcry compared to Natlan is day and night, man. I really liked Natlan a lot because there was a lot to do. There was a lot of content, okay? There was a lot of content, and I loved it. I don't even know what more to say. I thought the characters were all really cool. I loved Auron's design. I thought Varesa was sick. I thought Mavika was sick. I thought Silali looked cool. You know? I thought the characters looked cool. There was so much content, man. That's the way I saw it.
More real as a result of their relationships with each other. I could enumerate more about them based on how they interact with others. Crazy, right? It made for a more interesting quest too, one that I could more easily become invested in. Nodcry did a lot of stuff right, but the true problem with the region, unfortunately...
I'm a bit jealous of enough of Flynn's Havers. I wish I could just use this team, pretty much. Actually, no, I got Llama.
falls on the back of one character for me, one that was so highly anticipated, not just by me, but by so many people in this fandom, but she delivered so little. Columbina.
Cool.
I know, there's a lot of Columbina lovers out there, but I'm sorry, there are so many reasons I cannot stand this woman, and part of it is because she's a complete disappointment.
Columbina mogs you too. She doesn't. It's mutual. Columbina doesn't like you either, lady.
You might be familiar with the way that people thought Columbina was going to be a creepy character, maybe leaning into the biblically accurate angel aesthetic. There was a super popular theory that Columbina was a member of the canonical angel race, so this would make sense in a way.
Yeah, and I thought Skirk was gonna come out and be a galaxy element, a new element type, that they were later gonna make Dainsliff the same element type. It happens.
Creepy aesthetic for Columbina was also explored in a beautiful animation for Hoyo Fair called Stairway to Heaven by Kieru. The imagery is so spooky and
wait, I'm sorry, I don't know what I said, but I thought Skirk was gonna come out and she was gonna be like a galaxy type character. They were gonna make Dainsliff. That same element. That's what I thought.
Uses like analog
maybe like abyss power or like space power.
Horror elements, and if you haven't seen it, you should watch it after this. Oh my god, it's amazing. And this assumption that Columbina would be scary was not for nothing. People are always like, you just had an image in your head of what you wanted Columbina to be, and now you're disappointed that it didn't happen. And even if that is partially why people are disappointed, there is still in-game evidence and evidence in lore-relevant YouTube videos to support what people thought about her. Let's go over some, shall we? 1. Columbina's appearance. Let's go over what we knew she looked like from our...
If you look like Nicole, DM me. Bro, I hate her gameplay. Because she's probably like, she's a very cool looking character, but man, her gameplay is so disappointing. When you thought you were gonna get Plutonia, and now you're just shooting and now it's just a wisp ult, bro.
Our first look at her.
I wish I had Tartaglia, bro. Hopefully they make a rerun of Tartaglia one day, and they give him this fit right here. That'd be the best thing I've ever seen, bro.
The Winter Nights Lotso trailer. First, she has black and dark pink hair, colors that do not suggest something delicate or gentle. However, these dark colors are paired with Columbina's winged headdress, made of white feathers like dove wings. Not only does this mirror her name...
Yeah, when I saw her in all the trailers, bro, I assumed she was going to be like the blonde girl from My Hero Academia, the evil one. But she just like... That's what I thought she was going to be like, too. She's like a harbinger and everything, you know?
Columbina, which means...
Not everything about this video is bad, bro. She makes some valid points. But, I mean, I don't know, bro. Genshin is just a silly game, you know? And I think it's always going to be.
Means little dove. It also bears the appearance of a seraph, a type of angel in Christian theology. Seraphs typically have 3 pairs of wings and have the role of singing the praises of their god. Considering Columbina was a Fatui harbinger, maybe the praises that she was singing were for the Tsaritsa. Columbina is also clearly wearing a black and pink outfit under her Fatui coat, something that they very evidently dropped in her final design. Finally, Columbina has her eyes covered, suggesting maybe an unfeeling or uncaring personality, or maybe some mysterious power that lies behind her eyes. 2. Columbina's actions. In the trailer, she is singing a soft lullaby, smiling gently while laying along the coffin of her recently deceased fellow harbinger. I don't care what anyone says, that's creepy. It shows that she kind of has this detached attitude regarding death, especially of her own colleague. 3. What other characters say about her. Child's voice line about his fellow harbinger points the most to a scary character in Columbina.
The Fatui harbingers are ranked by strength, and I have no idea why that girl is number 3. I'd test my skills with every harbinger who ranks above me if I had the chance. But when it comes to her, something just doesn't feel right. Anyway, you should be careful around her.
Even Child sounded scared to challenge her to a battle, and he loves fighting with strong opponents. Scaramouche also suggests staying away from her and implies that she is not as innocent as she seems.
Let me ask. What should you do if you were to encounter a damsel who is oblivious and innocent at any given time, and unconcerned and unfeeling in any given situation? If it were me, I could at least challenge her to a fight. But if it were you, with your conscience, I would stay away from her.
The way that I've seen people defend this is by saying that Child and Scaramouche are bad at reading people, and they didn't know her that well, so of course their assumption would be wrong. They just knew that she was
For those of you that don't know, she was very shy, kawaii anime girl. She was just shy, kawaii anime girl. That's basically her entire personality type.
powerful. Dude, you are not getting at the reason why these voice lines are put in the game. Yes, they are useful for showing the relationships between characters and what characters think about each other, but they should also be used to provide hints and information about characters that we haven't met yet. If you put in a voice line about Columbina not being what she seems, then people are going to listen to that and assume that she...
It's not that deep, bro. I wish Toma didn't have a ponytail. And I wish Toma didn't wear socks and slides Converse high top.
She's not what she seems, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think people just aren't willing to admit that Genshin has bad and inconsistent writing sometimes. 4th, her rank. Columbina was long known to be the 3rd harbinger. It's also been known for a long time that the closer they are to number 1 in the rankings, the more powerful they are. Columbina being number 3, especially right below Dottore, who is notably unhinged and evil, suggests that she is not only similarly powerful, but also similarly devoted to her work as part of a major villain faction. I cannot stress this enough. Clearly, there is a wealth of evidence to support the theories that people had about Columbina. I'm tired of people pretending that it wasn't there, and I'm tired of people pretending that it wouldn't have worked tonally. There is literally a villain who does human experimentation. There was literally a genocide in Conria. But no. Instead, we learn that Columbina is actually a moon goddess? Okay, sure. But also, she's actually just a damsel in distress, like her name suggests. She's timid and soft-spoken and gentle, and she's shy at first, but eventually opens up to you, and you are the most special person in her life, even though you've known her for maybe 2 weeks. I cannot stand how
If she gets a crush on you, bro, what do you want her to do? They had to copy Wuthering Waves at the time.
willfully obtuse people will be about Columbina, pretending not to see the fan service that is sitting right in front of them. She hides behind the Traveler when she doesn't know how to talk to people. Aww, she likes to eat snacks. Aww, you get to feed her during Moon Prayer Night while the English VA is moaning into the mic every 2 seconds. Aww, she's so weak. She can't do anything by herself and probably would have died if the Traveler hadn't rescued her.
It was the best.
People like to pretend that it's somehow misogynistic to point this out. Again, purposefully ignoring that Hoyo is writing her this way intentionally. Guys, I kid you not,
You got a
she
problem.
literally turns invisible for a significant portion of the Archon quest. I promise you, that is not feminist. And it's not
Good. Good. Amen.
even like the moon goddess thing makes any sense. They even come up with some last-minute reason why she covers her eyes. There was a time when I refused to look upon the world. I believed it was full of nothing but lies and falsehoods. I wished to hide my feelings, seal my heart, until I could return to my true home. Oh my god. If this is what they originally planned to do with her, which it wasn't, then she was a goddamn waste of a Harbinger slot. It is so clear to me that she was never their original intention for the moon goddess. Her design suffers so bad as a result of Hoyo's ineptitude. I mean, look at these colors. They don't go together at all.
I like the contrast. She looks alright. I think she looks really cool.
Oh my god, she's so beautiful. No, she's not. Her design is two different designs smashed together. In fact, these colors only look okay together when they purposefully give the outfit more purple tones, which they could have just as easily done in the game model, but they didn't. Even her constellation is a mishmash of her Fatui aesthetic and her goddess aesthetic. We have both the traditional portrait shape that all the other gods in the game get, and also her symbol of the crying dove, just shoved right in at the bottom. I completely believe the idea that Nodcry, or that this character at least, was rewritten at some point because there was no indication that they had any semblance of a plan for such a highly anticipated character. And the most frustrating part about all of this to me is that Hoyo actually leans into several of the things that people thought about Columbina, but only enough that it feels like they're teasing and laughing in the face of their fans, as if we read into it too much or something. In her burst, she grows wings like an angel, and these wings bear resemblance to a Seelie Court, both echoing the theory that she is an angel. But she's not an angel. In her character trailer, she performs a ballet, which calls to mind for me the very popular fan design in which she was a ballerina, something that the ribbons on her hands and feet might suggest.
This is cool. I like what we got a lot more.
And it kills me because this trailer is beautiful. The visuals and the choreography are gorgeous. The symbolism of Dottore as the pianist who's controlling the dance by playing the music, oh my god, I love it. But it would be even better if she was a dancer or a ballerina of some kind, because she isn't. Even though that would have made a lot of sense thematically with her singing. Perhaps the strangest example of Hoyoverse leaning into the theories about Columbina is that they have the singer Aurora wearing a dress with eyes on it during the Welkin Moon concert, which suggests the biblically accurate angel thing. Maybe I'm reading too much into this last one especially, but I cannot take it. It is so frustrating because they are so close. But no, Genshin is allergic to having playable characters who are morally gray or irredeemable. This leads to what I lovingly refer to as
Tartaglia, Wanderer, Raiden Shogun, Arlecchino.
the Genshin villain problem. Other popular gacha games, like Cookie Run Kingdom, literally have morally reprehensible or canonically dead characters that are playable. What is stopping Genshin from making their villains stay villains, but also become playable? Columbina is just an embodiment of a bigger problem in Genshin. They do not...
Yeah, give us Rarer. I mean, like, bro, Rarer can have... He uses a spear. I don't know. I'd rather have Varka.
want to have any characters who have questionable morals become playable. Most of the time, this ends up going in two ways. The first is that the character is redeemed and then becomes friends with the Traveler before becoming playable. This is what has happened to every playable Harbinger thus far. Tartaglia fights anything that moves, but he respects the Traveler even though they have different motives and values. He only ever wants a friendly spar with them. Scaramouche has no one else who understands his past, and is connected with the Traveler in that way. Arlecchino is a ruthless woman who is grooming children to be a part of the Fatui, but it turns out that the House of the Hearth is a lot less sinister under her rule, so that's okay too, I guess. And Columbina.
This battle was never about fate.
This lady should learn about Risley, bro.
It's about friends, family, and the home you
This is the
stole
most
from them.
obnoxious thing I've ever experienced in my life.
The second way it goes
That land was way worse.
is that the character cannot be redeemed and is therefore killed off so that they won't become playable. This is what happened to Signora way back in Inazuma, and most recently it happened to Dottore. This was honestly shocking
Signora was so fine. If you look like that, DM me.
to me, especially considering how much of a fan favorite Dottore is. Let me be clear, Dottore is a horrible person and he should not be redeemed. We should be able to understand his motives without forgiving him for what he has done. He has imposed so much pain on so many people in the game, and his morals are extremely corrupt, but he's still very, very interesting, and you can sometimes almost understand where he's coming from while still not condoning his methods, which I must stress is what makes a well-written villain. People love this guy's character.
Basically Orochimaru, by the way.
But now, he can never become playable because as of right now, he's dead. Little
Could not care less.
did you know, though, that there is a secret third option, which is what they did to Capitano, a combo of options 1 and 2. They redeemed him and then still killed him off anyway. What a strange decision that was. Again, for a character that was extremely highly anticipated, they just threw in all this tragic backstory for him at the very end of the Natlan Archon quest, and then he fucking died right after that, so none of it mattered at all. It's like they don't understand their own visual cues. A perfect example of this to me is Escoffier.
Probably my most wanted character in the whole game.
Maybe, again, this might be just me, but even she gave me creepy vibes in the silhouette teaser from the live stream where they revealed upcoming characters for 2025. She has this hair that sticks out, the shape of which largely resembles horns and conveys a sort of like wildness of her personality. She has a devil's pitchfork tail that's positioned up where we can clearly see it, and she's holding a sharp knife up. Like, she looked psycho to me, and I was intrigued. And at least that would have been interesting and different. But no, not only is this design ass, but it's also incredibly misleading. She's just kind of a tsundere who's very particular about her food. I don't understand why they're like this, guys. One of my favorite comments that I've seen about this that just perfectly embodies my feelings on the matter is this from the unofficial Genshin subreddit. They're allergic to morally gray, redeemable, or just bad characters because they don't know how to write anything that isn't a shitty isekai where the main character wins using the power of friendship and his harem. Oh, speaking of harem... It's an anime gacha game. You have to expect fan service. Okay, I know that. But Genshin used to be different from other games in its genre, and I mean that genuinely. There used to be a much better ratio of female to male 5-star characters than many other gacha games, because so many gacha games are targeted at male audiences who aren't
What do you want, lady? Like, there's 100 characters. Like, how many do you need? You know? Like, me, I just really want, like, a Escoffier and Varka at this point. Like, there's a couple others, like Movica, I wouldn't mind having, you know? But, like, you gotta, like, Tartaglia, you know, I really wouldn't mind having. Arataki Ito, I really wouldn't mind having. But it's just, like, that's just gotcha. You know, you can't have it all.
Perceived as being interested in the male character.
And beyond that, look at the diversity, bro. Where's Kaya?
And there were sexy character outfits, especially on the women, lots of detached sleeves, short skirts, also known as the coochie flap, thigh-high socks or boots. But they were nowhere near as bad as they are now. These women are nearly naked now. And not only does that make me mad and uncomfortable from a standpoint of being a woman who feels objectified just by looking at these designs, but also from a character design standpoint. I have quite a bit to say about the sharp drop-off in not only the quality of the Genshin character designs, but also in the tastefulness of them. To show you what I mean, we can talk about some early Genshin designs to compare them to more recent ones. I think it's important to discuss the physical elements of these characters first before we discuss the fan service elements of their presentation, writing, and personalities, because the physical appearance is the most obvious element, but I promise we will get to the other stuff in due time. Also keep in mind that I'm only going to be talking about female characters because...
Alright, lady. Look at this. Come on. Where did I send that to? There we go. Alright. This is Cammy. Throughout the years, she has been the center of much controversy because feminists claim she represents an unrealistic, unhealthy, and unfair standard of beauty, leading to a crisis for young girls and their self-esteem. This is Zangief. Any questions?
Because most of the time, the male characters are almost always covered from chin to toe now, aka the fan service is not equal opportunity. One of the first characters I'll mention is Lisa, one of the very first anime fan servicey characters that we're introduced to in the game. She teases the traveler, she calls them cutie, and she's averse to doing any sort of work. Her character design communicates so much about her though, nonetheless. Her hairstyle, which is very loose and almost looks like it's falling out on one side, shows us that lazy element of her personality. Her purple, black, and gold color palette obviously communicates her element of electro, but also a sense of importance, luxuriousness, and magic. Her classically styled witch hat also conveys the latter, of course. Miko is similar to Lisa in terms of teasing personality, although Miko can get a bit more cruel and self-indulgent with it. She has a sharper eye shape than Lisa's gentle, round eyes to indicate this part of her personality. Her outfit is also a stylized version of a traditional Japanese shrine maiden outfit, giving her the required amount of gacha game sexiness while also showing her spiritual importance in Inazuma. Her design being more complicated than the other shrine maidens also signifies that her role is the most important of all of them. Her hair is the color of a sakura blossom, and she has cherry blossom motifs in her clothing, again
very kawaii.
Emphasizing her Japanese inspiration, but also her connection to the sacred sakura of Inazuma, which is deeply connected with her element of electro. Xinyan is one of my favorite Liyue.
Her design is so good, bro. I've been building her. Real. I like to play Pyro Mannequin, and I'm kind of sick of Bennett. And Nicole's kind of too tall for Pyro Mannequin.
And character designs because it combines traditional elements of Chinese clothing styles with Xinyan's rock aesthetic, so you immediately know by looking at her what she represents. Xinyan wears lots of dark colors, spikes, and
genuinely one of my favorite designs. Black and red, one of my favorite color palettes. And spikes are so dope. Open toed, are you kidding me? Open toe, oh.
Fishnet features common in punk or alternative clothing styles. All of this is accented by red and orange, obviously representing her pyro vision, but also her passionate and fiery personality. Her hair even looks like it's glowing from the inside, which I always thought was such a cool detail. However, Xinyan also has some very subtle nods to her Liyuean culture. So while she mostly represents a counterculture in Liyue, she still maintains cohesion with the other character designs in her region. The last of the older character designs that I'm going to touch on is Navia's, probably my favorite Fontanian design personally. This design is basically a sluttier version of a traditional French aristocratic gown, but it still covers most of her body. Navia's design exudes wealth. It is full of ruffles and jewels. She has these big billowy curls. She's got this big hat decorated with feathers. She brings along a frilly parasol. She also maintains connection to her hometown of Poisson with these ship wheels.
Kinda wish I had Navia
On her hips, as well as the canon
if you look like this, DM me.
theming of her elemental burst. Navia is also a very cheerful character, which her yellow color palette communicates, and she also has got these cute sparkles in her eyes that show that. As you can see, these designs are not only pretty tasteful in terms of gacha character designs, but they also do their job. They communicate information about the character, even if you knew nothing about them to begin with. This is what makes a good character design, and it is ironically what many character designs in modern Genshin fail to do. Not only that, but they also get more and more boring and more insulting as time goes on. So let's take a walk through them, shall we? This ought to be fun. One of my least favorite recent characters is Citlali. Again, I know, a fan favorite, but
Watch my top 10 waifu video. Citlali got first place.
I'm sorry, I do not like her. Her design
Bad take.
certainly isn't the most offensive of the Natlan ones. I just find her annoying. I do
She's so
think
hot.
her English VA is very good at their job and that they do a great job with Citlali's voice, but I really just don't like the character's writing.
I did top 10 waifus. I gave Citlali first place, bro.
We will talk about that in a bit. One of the things I dislike about her design, though, is this goddamn leotard that she's wearing. This girl is literally wearing a thong. This sweater thing would go right up her butt crack. I cannot stand stuff like this. Also, side note real quick, I have to pause to talk about the state of Genshin character trailers. Can we talk about how these videos used to be actual showcases of the character's combat abilities with like little elements of story sprinkled in? Once that's
The old trailers were better. They used to be really unique trailers, and now they're just trying to copy like Wuthering Waves.
strike this balance well, in my opinion, are Nahida's trailer, Farina's trailer, and Arlecchino's trailer. But now, character trailers are either 1. Headache-inducing fan edits with these wildly inappropriate aesthetic choices, like Nefer's trailer or Citlali's, or 2. Music videos that make me feel like I'm going to implode from cringing, like Shilonen or Mawika's trailer. At most, these ones show the elemental burst animation. It doesn't tell you anything about what it's like to actually play the character in the video game that I'm supposed to be pulling for them in. Tell me how that's supposed to give me a good impression of these characters. Anyway, back to Citlali's outfit. It's the same thing with Mawika. Her design features a zipper that goes all the way around between her legs up to her back. That can't be comfortable, right? Especially riding a motorcycle. And also, what exactly does this design communicate about Mawika other than being a biker? Yeah, I guess she's got sun imagery to represent her Archon hood, but to me, her hair is the only thing about her design that gives me Pyro Archon. But then, you know, all of that still goes away when she fights and her hair lights up. And then we have Veresa. I was really excited about this design when I saw the silhouette in that same teaser we were talking about earlier. Oh my gosh, a girl that's a cow. Oh my god, that's gonna be so cute. I love these braids and the big horns. I mean, I wonder what kind of color palette she'll have. Maybe like browns and greens, something earthy because she's a farm animal.
Racist fire.
Oh.
Don't you dare. She runs like
yeah.
Sonic.
I mean, I guess that works
She
too.
runs
Just
like
kidding.
Sonic. She's
I hate
perfect.
this design.
She's
One of my
perfect.
least favorites in the
One of my
entire game.
favorites.
I just like,
She's so perfect.
what was the point, dude?
The goat.
Why is she so like
Cow.
kawaii themed? She's got hearts and bows
so hot.
everywhere. She wears leg warmers and a cardigan. The skirt is pointless because it's too short to cover her ass. You expect me to believe that this is a lucha libre fighter?
One of the best
I know that
characters of all
luchadoras often dress in similar silhouettes to Veresa's outfit, but they didn't incorporate any elements of the culture that Veresa is inspired by, or the one that her name comes from. There are plenty of lucha libre fighters who incorporate elements of their culture into their costumes. They could have gotten really creative with it. But it's not like it even matters because we never even get to see her fight like a luchadora in the game. It's all just the food bullshit and falling on her ass all the time. It's especially frustrating because the animators have been getting really creative with the normal attack animations lately. They could have gone crazy with her and made her do insane moves, something like this. Like I said earlier, I was interested too in Escoffier's design based on the silhouette, but I was also very disappointed with this reveal. Not only does this outfit make no sense with regards to breaking up any colors or with this weird heart theming that she has, similar to Veresa. Again, I don't know why they keep doing this, but her outfit
Like
is
all my most
literally
wanted
just the
characters.
sexy chef Halloween
God.
costume.
My most wanted character, by the way. Just saying. This is the one character that I wish I had the most.
She's wearing an apron with nothing underneath it. Not only is that insulting, but it's boring and it's lazy.
No,
You guys
you're
literally
wrong.
couldn't bother to design a shirt for her to wear.
This video said a lot of good things, but like, lady, have you seen Mona? Have you seen Mona? You know, like, come on, what are we talking about?
Under this apron, they would just rather put more
Have you seen Arataki Ito, bro? That man has, he's naked constantly. Even Dante from Devil May Cry wears clothes, lady. It's equal.
effort into the detailing on her fucking stockings than design her a shirt. Skirk makes me mad in a similar way because they literally took an already very revealing outfit and made her more naked when she made the transition from NPC to playable character. Lauma is one of the ones that makes me the saddest because I actually really love the way that she's written in the narrative. Her voice acting is so beautiful and gentle, and I find her quiet strength to be really, really compelling. It just sucks because she would be perfect if she wasn't almost naked. For Lauma, I don't feel hatred like I do for Veresa because Lauma has good writing to make up for her design. I just feel bad for her. Like, oh my god, you poor woman. You're probably so cold and
This video said a lot of things, but I really like all the designs she doesn't.
uncomfortable all the time. Actually, she's named after a creature from Baltic folklore that's traditionally depicted as a nude woman. That is literally just another excuse to make a woman with large breasts walk around with a single piece of cloth covering her ass. You can't convince me that Lauma isn't meant to be sexualized by the game when she makes this face while bound by Rayrir. Finally, we have
What's the
Nefer.
problem?
Now, I don't really hate this design necessarily. I actually
She likes the Yuri subtext, but
really like the top of
Tactone said it best on Steak and Eggs, bro. He said it best. He's like, they're allowed to sexualize their characters and call them lesbians, but the second you say character's hot, you're like misogynistic. Just crazy people.
it. Her hairstyle is really cool. I love the cape and the vibrant gold and green colors, but it's just another design in this long pattern of just giving up on the legs of these female character designs. Not only does this white skirt completely blend into her insanely pale skin, but they also make no
Dragon tattoo would have went hard.
effort to give her some socks or stockings to balance out these colors or make the design more interesting. Like, I really love this fan design that not only gives her a darker skirt, but also some snake pattern thigh-high socks. I really wish that they had leaned into her snake theming more, as a side note. But alas, it's always the same. A super detailed design from the waist up and absolutely nothing except maybe a thigh garter on the legs. Again, Columbina falls into this too. She wears this super detailed tiny dress, one that's so short it makes her legs look obscenely long like a spider. And then she doesn't even wear shoes, just these fuck-ass water orb heels because they couldn't bear to let a woman walk flat on her feet. And the way that these women are drawn sometimes is so stupid too. Even the character designs that I consider to be better than these suffer from the fan service. Even though I wish her skirt was longer to add some variety to the designs, I really like Mizuki's design, but she literally shows her butt to the camera during her burst and in her official art. In fact, Hoyo only draws these characters in impossible poses more and more for the sake of making them more goonable. Literally, Mizuki is posed so you can somehow see her underboob and butt at the same time. They do the same thing with Mawika. Her back is arched so heavily just so that they can display both her cleavage and her ass. Veresa's also the same, plus she's making that face like, oh, you caught me, and I have food all over my face. Oh no!
Perfect.
Oh my god. I hated saying that out loud. And see, Lali is literally squishing her chest so heavily with what? A stuffed animal? A pillow? That is not how this part of the body works. This is only one of the anime fan service tropes that Genshin has increasingly leaned into over time. As the game progresses, we only get more and more characters that fit the tsundere character type. Oh my god. It's over, guys. We only get more and more characters that fit the tsundere character type. Oh my god, I can't fucking say this. As the game progresses, we only get more and more characters that fit the tsundere character type, which I personally find annoying. Lali and Sandrone are the biggest examples of this, but I would also argue that Escoffier falls into this trope sometimes. Somewhat related is the increasing number of characters who have very obvious crushes or similar devotion to the Traveler, all of whom seem to be women, ironically. Ayaka was a big one early on, but since then we've
She just has a problem with the fan service. I could not disagree more. I love all the fan service, bro. It's like one of my favorite things about the game. You just get to go on like dates with like the anime waifus.
Had Mizuki blushing around the Traveler, and the game purposefully putting her into situations in which we're meant to like cutely embarrass her. It's clearly meant to have a teasing romantic tone to it. Similarly, Seat Lolly has a big crush on the Traveler, made evident by being portrayed like this in her Valentine's Day art, and by all the times the game has given us very convenient plot-related ways to read each other's thoughts. Dude, this shit is painful to play. And then most recently we've had Columbina, who again has only one true friend in the Traveler, and she cutely hides behind you and you get to feed her. Again, these are all very romance-coded behaviors. The Traveler is literally represented as her savior and dance partner in her trailer. It is a pattern at this point. Can we please let women have more interesting relationships with the main character than being their shy waifu all the time? And again, this fan service is never equal opportunity. The male characters never get to have interactions or relationships like this with the player. Why not? We also have character-specific tropes. Veresa, I'm getting to you now. She was tailor-made for the feeder fetish. I kid you not, in one of her trailers, they animate food going into her stomach, and her stomach, like, jiggles and stuff, and oh my god. It is genuinely one of the most sickening and uncomfortable things I have seen coming out of this company. Her entire thing is eating comically large amounts of food. She has nothing else that matters to her character, to her personality, or anything about her. It's not like this would necessarily be bad on its own, but guys, she is literally a cow. This character is like extremely insulting, and I hate her. And that's not even mentioning how she literally fights by falling on her ass. When you are playing her, she will fall and her ass will be facing the camera for multiple seconds before she gets up. And your eye is naturally drawn there because of her bright pink tail.
Same thing with every character though, bro. Play Ryo.
Against her black skirt. And then when she gets up, she'll like dust herself off and be like, owie, that hurt, shut up. And then we've got Nefer and her whole like clones thing, and the clones are like her servants and she poses with them in sexually charged ways, like she's holding this one's face and this one is laying in her lap. Like, I don't have to like spell out the way that this is incredibly fetishistic, right? I mean, Nefer literally does the stripper crawl across the table toward the camera in her trailer. She's meant to give femdom. And I mean, like, the clones basically serve no purpose to her theming as a character. I think they could have taken them out of her whole thing and it wouldn't have made a difference to her kit or to her gimmicks. They literally only did it because they knew people would drool over it. Editing Aurelia here. In the process of making this video, Linnea has been released, and I just have to interject to say, what the fuck were they thinking with this character? I feel like a crazy person because I feel like I'm the only one who doesn't think she's adorable and in fact recognizes her for the creepy freak that she is. First of all, she clearly has absolutely no respect for living things that are not traditionally human. She keeps asking to touch and pet the Melusines as if they are not whole people. It's especially creepy because the Melusines are made to look like children. Having an adult character who is high-key obsessed with them and can't treat them as the people they are was a fucked up move on Hoyo's part.
Yo, it's not that
they
deep.
literally make a point to emphasize
It's because she's the same race as Flynn's.
the humanity of the Melusines.
She's like a magic fairy. I forget what they call him. They call him a fae.
And how they had to fight to be accepted in Fontanian society. And now we have a playable character who we are supposed to think is cute, harassing them and treating them as though they are pets. It's disgusting. Her trailer is sickening for the same reason. She fantasizes about being rubbed up on by Siegeween, who, again, looks like a child, and Kirida, along with other Melusines and Nekomata. It reads as extremely fetishistic to me, which is a problem when the people that she's fantasizing about look like children. She chases these people around and doesn't seem to let up after being told multiple times to back off. There are multiple promotional materials in which she asks to touch a Melusine, which makes me think that it's happened more than once or twice. I mean, at least her character quest wasn't as bad. I won't spoil it, obviously, because I said I wouldn't talk about content past Luna 5, but I still don't find this character appealing or compelling at all, as I feel like I've made it very clear. She doesn't even have an interesting design to make up for it. She's literally just a copy-paste of
Nah, Linnea's design is fire. She looks like Lightning from Final Fantasy 13. And so does Charlotte. They both do a little bit. I mean, it's like if they just... Oh, it's right there. You know what I'm saying?
Charlotte. Even the wish art is the same. I haven't felt such a burning hatred for a character in a long time. Hoyoverse had the opportunity to portray Linnea as a character with a disability that made it difficult for her to fit in, because that was largely the reason the myth of changelings arose in the first
I don't like Knitch. He looks like an iPad kid.
place. The fairies were thought to swap their fae children for a human child, which was how several mythologies explained neurodivergence in children. Instead of portraying a really heartwarming story about a character who's autism coded, we instead get a freak who can't stop harassing anyone with non-human features. Ironic considering how they want to portray her as an outcast who had no friends because she was a fae who looked different. Also, can we talk about how her lore makes no sense because the Saritsa and the Fatui are meant to be hunting down fae and eradicating them? Hence why Flynn's hides his identity. But it's just completely fine that Linnea is outwardly a fae, perhaps even more obviously so than Flynn's because she doesn't cover the wings on her head or her crystal markings. Whatever. I really hope people open their eyes to how terrible this character is. Sorry if you feel kinship with her. She is not cute, she is not funny, she has no appealing character traits, and there are far better characters out there whose stories are about yearning for acceptance. Anyway, back to the video. Before we move on to the last part, I feel the need to debunk something I've heard both in this fandom and in other fandoms with regards to sexualized character designs. She should be able to wear whatever she wants. It's feminist to let women express themselves how they want. Listen, I choose to believe that this argument isn't made in bad faith. It's more like people who say this have good intentions, but they don't understand what it is that they're actually saying. Yes, it's true that women in real life should be able to choose what they wear. If they want to wear revealing clothing, that is completely their choice. However, these women are not real and do not have the autonomy that we do. They are purposefully manufactured to be bait for the male gaze. They are animated in revealing outfits and drawn in uncomfortable poses and written into compromising situations on purpose. These developers have control over how these women are portrayed, and they choose to portray them increasingly as vessels for hypersexualization, fetishization, and fan service. That is not feminist. That's not to say that Hoyoverse doesn't do this in their other games. Zenless Zone Zero comes to mind, but to me, at least, that game is honest about what it is, and it has been since the beginning. Boob physics and maid outfits and schoolgirl uniforms and all. At least over there, the fan service is a little more equally spread across the male and female characters. Genshin Impact still pretends that it's this grand world of exploration it was 4 years ago, while its writing and characters suffer. Expect visual upgrades like you've never seen before, all while we refuse to visually upgrade older characters because who gives a shit about them, right? Or as we increase the shill for pay-to-win players, or for Miliastra Wonderland, which no one fucking asked for.
I love Miliastra Wonderland. It's my favorite thing they've ever added to Genshin.
And no one cares
I'm a mannequin main.
about. And for hyper-specific gameplay mechanics that are incredibly team-limiting and rely on 2 or 3 limited characters.
She's right about this. This is super annoying to me, bro. Oh, you want to play Varka? Oh, yeah, no problem. Just get 4 new characters. Get Prune, Durin, and Nicole. Oh, you want to play... Dude, yeah.
To actually function, all while we continually offer less and less new map areas and free wishes each patch. I could go on forever about the state of this fucking game and how Hoyoverse doesn't I think that's enough of that for now. Let's move on. After all this complaining, people are probably thinking, it sounds like this game is causing you lots of undue stress. Maybe you should just quit and play something else. Look, maybe you don't get what it feels like to invest 5 years of your life.
Genshin's my favorite game. I'm like $1,000 deep. I got a C1 Ryo. That was like $300. Spent like $200 for like a Furina and some other stuff.
Life into a game like this, with ever-expanding lore and new characters being introduced all the time. I guess maybe I didn't know what I was getting myself into at the time, back in 1.0 when I first started out. It sucks to invest so much of your time into a game only for it to let you down. I'm not gonna pretend that Genshin was perfect back then. There are so many weird, like, cop-outs that Hoyo pulls so that they can have sensitive themes in their game.
I have a C1 Cause 1 my account. C1 Kazuha is useless. C2 Kazuha is really good. C1, yeah.
Games, but not actually have them. Like Bennett saying that he has multiple dads, only for you to realize that it's because he's been raised by many older men in the Adventurers Guild, not because he has queer parents. But the problems have only gotten worse with time. There are even more cop-outs, like Flynn's being a victim of suicidal ideation, but like, he actually just went sleepy for a really long time. Or like Nicole, who is mute in name only. She just talks in people's heads using her magic so Hoyo can pretend that they have a character with a disability. Or like Nefer, experiencing racism at the hands of the academia while having the palest skin you could possibly imagine. Regarding gameplay, as I said, the shill for current characters has only gotten worse with time, with boss enemies made specifically to be defeated by certain limited characters. Fontaine was the first region to introduce
Was she implying that you can't be racist to white people?
region-specific battle mechanics, Bond of Life, and Pneumosia, but it wasn't so completely baked into the combat like Night Soul or Lunar Reactions are. You didn't need Bond of Life or Pneumosia to be anything in the game, but the Lord of Eroded Primal Fire weekly boss requires a character who can apply Night Soul damage. The game before
Massive skill issue.
the gate is built for quick application of the
This one I hate, but it's like, what are you gonna do, you know? I'm sorry, Venti main, you can't use him against Andreas.
frozen reaction, which is the specialty of Skirk and Escoffier. It's unfair to people who aren't looking to pull every single character, like me, because I only pull characters I like, or free-to-play people who aren't looking to spend what could easily be hundreds of dollars on filling out their 5-star roster, also like me, because I don't have that kind of disposable income. Seeing Flynn's in that Nodcry teaser was a lifesaver for me. Holy shit, a beautiful 5-star man with a mysterious backstory who's
Premium teams are getting more and more expensive. This is something I've noticed, man. Especially as somebody who tried to get the whole Varka package. I got away with a Dern and a Nicole. No Prune, no Varka.
actually part of the meta, and oh my
I got a llama on the side.
God, Lowen too. That face card is diabolical. It's been so long since I've been excited about characters like this. Most of the time now, I'm just like, well, Nicole's not my favorite, but I guess I'll pull for her in the future if I have no other characters I want.
If you look like this, DM me.
Or, well, Llama's design is pretty terrible, but I like her personality a lot. I guess I could get her if I have enough extra.
I got llama because, like, I played D-Luke, Alhaitham, and Ryo, and Alhaitham's like the strongest out of all three, especially with llama.
Primo gems. So yeah, that's a lot of flaws. But guess what, guys? Hoyoverse fucking got me. Almost 6 years ago now, Hoyoverse wormed its way into my brain and put my mind in a Genshin Impact-shaped chokehold. At this point, I have so many mixed emotions about this game and its fan base. I love the beautiful fan art I see every day. I love the sense of humor that so many of these fans have. I love some of these characters so much, and thinking about them is so much fun, but sometimes I feel like the only sane person in any given comment section on the internet. Like, I'm the only person who sees this game for what it has become. People just refuse to be critical of this game despite enjoying it and knowing what it could be. It's a fandom and a community that I sometimes feel like I don't belong to. Like I should have left it a long time ago, and yet I can't stop playing it. Maybe it's an addiction, or maybe it's FOMO thinking about the upcoming characters I want to get in the future. Maybe I find the gameplay engaging. But ultimately, I think for me, it comes down to wanting to see where this story ends up, even though it continues to disappoint me the more the time goes on. I think Genshin set up a very strong emotional core with the missing sibling, and they strung us along just enough that I was invested, giving us hints of the sibling only a little at a time, all culminating in a quest called Bedtime Story a couple years ago, which is one of the only Genshin quests that's ever made me cry. I want to see the Traveler reunited with their twin at the end of this journey. I want to explore Snezhnaya and Conria. Even though Alice's design ended up being a little copy-paste, I adore her and I want to pull her and put her in a team with Klee and Durin. I want to see Dainsleif become playable and hopefully introduce a new element into the gameplay. Who knows? Maybe Genshin will continue to disappoint me. Maybe there are no good villains left to meet, and maybe a playable woman in a freezing cold climate will be wearing a bikini. I'm still gonna be pissed about that. But it's quests like Durin's story quest, a beautiful tale of the devotion of motherhood and learning to make your own way in life, that give me very cautious optimism. I know that Hoyo is capable of amazing storytelling. That's what makes it so frustrating every time this game lets me down. But Hoyo, you've still got me for a while. Nice going, you made me addicted to your game, but the good stuff is what makes me want to stick around for a while. Even if it's only to watch my favorite little guys run around in my screen.
I fear Minsleaf might have cocked bro.
Fire video. Fire video. Genshin Impact. Probably my favorite game. I really like the mannequin custom character. Go watch this. Look. Go watch how to main mannequin. Genshin Impact by me. I'm gonna go edit this video and upload it, and hopefully it does well. I remember back in the day, ASMONGOLD got a huge bump in his audience with the Johnny Depp trial reaction and with the Andrew Tate reactions. So I gotta react to something like that, and I play a lot of Genshin Impact. I stream it every day on Twitch and YouTube. Y'all seen me on Hoyo Lab. Peace and blessings. Thanks for watching.
Бензин у меня на ноле, денег нет, мне пофиг, дай мне больше водки, я не хочу жить дольше, бензин у меня на ноле.